The golden grain. In a small, peaceful village, there lived a kind old man named Elias. Poverty had cast a long shadow over his family, forcing him to seek help from everyone he knew. He knocked on every door, begging for a handful of grain or a loaf of bread, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Desperation began to creep into his heart. Finally, as a last resort, he turned to the village elder. Taking pity on Elias, the elder gave him a sack of grain, enough to feed his family for a few days. Overjoyed, Elias carried the sack home, grateful for the kindness shown to him. He prayed to God, thanking him for this small blessing. But as soon as he reached home and opened the sack, he discovered that all the grain had spilled out. Despair washed over him. "Why, God, why?" he cried. "I only asked for a small sack of grain. Why have you taken this away from me?" Tears streamed down his face as he sat on the ground, heartbroken. After a while, he calmed down and forced himself to his feet. He knew he had to do something. Gathering his courage, he began to search for the scattered grains, hoping he could salvage a few to grind into flour. As he searched, his fingers brushed against something hard. Curious, he picked it up and realized it was a piece of gold. With growing excitement, he looked around and found more gold coins scattered among the grain. At first, he thought he must be dreaming, but as he held the gold in his hands, he knew this was real. With a heart full of gratitude, he looked up at the sky and smiled. He realized that his prayer had been answered in an unexpected way. Perhaps God had wanted to teach him a lesson about patience and trust. In that moment, he remembered a saying his grandmother had often told him: "Whether you're at the bottom of a well or standing on a mountaintop, I am always with you." Elias understood that God had been with him all along, even in his darkest hour. He learned to trust in God's wisdom and to always hope. With his newfound wealth, Elias was able to transform his life and the lives of his family. He became a benefactor to the poor and a respected member of the community. But most importantly, he learned to be grateful for all of God's blessings and to help others in need.